Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru and Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karna Sindho Dino Bando Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhobhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are going to read from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 2, the Lord in the Heart. We are on the third text. Ata Kavir Namashu Yavad Artaha Syad Apramato Vyavasaya Buddhi Siddhe Anyatha Arthe Na Yathe Tatra Parishrama Tatra Samiksha Manaha. Translation. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life, while in the world of names, he should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Bhagavad Dharma or the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is perfectly distinct from the way of fruitive activities which are considered by the devotees to be merely a waste of time. The whole universe, or for that matter, all material existence is moving on a jagat, simply for planning business to make one position very comfortable or secure. Although everyone sees that this existence is neither comfortable nor secure and can never become comfortable or secure at any stage of development. Those who are captivated by the illusory advancement of material civilization following the way of phantasmagoria are certainly madmen. The whole material creation is a jugglery of names only. In fact, it is nothing but bewildering creation of matter like earth, water, and fire. The buildings, furniture, cars, bungalow, mills, factories, industries, peace, war, or even the highest perfection of material science, namely atomic energy and electronics, are all simply bewildering names of material elements with their concomitant reactions of the three modes. Since the devotee of the Lord knows them perfectly well, he is not interested in creating unwanted things for situations which are not at all a reality, but simply names of no more significance than the babble of sea waves. The great kings, leaders, and soldiers fight with one another in order to perpetuate their names in history. They are forgotten in the due course of time, and they make a place for another era in history. But the devotee realizes how much history and historical persons are useless products of flickering time. The fruity workers aspire after a big fortune in the matter of wealth, woman, worldly adoration, but those who are fixed in perfect reality are not at all interested in such false things. For them, it is all a waste of time. Since every second of human life is important, an enlightened man should be very careful to utilize time very cautiously. 1 second of a human life wasted is the vain research of planning for happiness in the material world can never be replaced. Even if one spends millions of gold coins, therefore, the transcendentalist desiring freedom from the clutches of Maya or the illusory activities of life is warned herewith not to be captivated by the external features of freedom actors. Human life is never meant for sense gratification, but for self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam instructs us solely on this subject from the very beginning to the end. Human life is simply meant for self-realization. The civilization which aims at the utmost perfection never indulges in creating unwanted things, and such perfect civilization prepares man only to accept the bare necessities of life or to follow the principle of the best use of a bad bargain. Our material bodies and our lives in that connection are bad bargains because the living entity is actually spirit, and spiritual advancement of the living entity is absolutely necessary. Human life is intended for the realization of this important factor, and one should act accordingly, accept accepting only the bare necessities of life and depending more on God's gift without diversion of human energy for any other purpose. Such a being mad for material for any other purposes, such as being mad for material enjoyment. The materialistic advancement of civilization is called the civilization of demons, which ultimately ends in war and scarcity. The transcendentalist is specifically warned herewith to be fixed in mind so that even if there is difficulty in plain living and high thinking, he will not budge even an inch from his stark determination. For a transcendentalist, it is a suicidal policy to be intimately in touch with sense gratification of the world because such a policy will frustrate the ultimate gain of life. Sukadev Goswami met Parikshit Maharaj when the latter felt a necessity for such a meeting. It is the duty of a transcendentalist to help persons who desire real salvation and to support the cause of salvation. One might note that Sukadev Goswami never met Maharaja Parikshit while he was ruling as a great king. For a transcendentalist, the mode of activities is explained in the next shloka. So, this purport is very, very heavy and hard hitting, very deep also. I'll stop sharing. So, and very deep also. Actually, this particular line about the civilization that Prabhupada speaks about, in multiple places he has called it as Ugra Karma, because this civilization that we have, we produce so many unnecessary things and focus our lives in producing such unnecessary things. So, Mukam karoti vachalam, pangom langaite girim, yatkrupatamaham vande, Sri Guru Dhina Tarinam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the deliverer of the fallen souls. His mercy turns the dumb into eloquent speakers and enables lame to cross the mountains. I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas present today. I also seek forgiveness for any transgressions I may commit while I'm speaking. So, like Prabhupada was saying at the beginning of the purport, in today's world, we are all very busy trying to make, trying to make our lives more comfortable and trying to secure our life as well as our position. No matter however much we try, we all know that all of this is temporary. What we have today, we don't have tomorrow, including our position, our comfort, and the situations of our life. And like Prabhupada said, this is the temporary world where nothing is where nothing is permanent. So such people, Prabhupada is calling them as mad or crazy, because we are going after things that are not really needed and that won't stay with us. The next point he makes is regarding the advancement of the modern civilization. And he says this world is nothing but, actually it's not Prabhupada, but it's actually Sukadeva Goswami saying that. This world is just a heap of names. Everything is about names, labels. So we have these buildings, furnitures, cars, factories, war, peace, and even the products of sciences. And these are nothing but interactions between the basic 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the 3 gunas, and the desires of the living entity. And that's all it is. Even the greatest of the activities by the greatest of the personalities are just dots on the timeline, which will be digested and forgotten in no time at all. Like Prabhupada says, these are just babble of the sea waves, nothing more than that. However, a devotee is aware of all of this, so he doesn't get deviated. He stays focused, and he doesn't go after the multiple goals that the life presents. He's focused single-mindedly on cultivation and serving the Lord. And this is called Vyavasayamika Buddhi. In Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, Krishna actually focuses on this particular topic, very extensively. And he talks about, how Vyavasayamika Buddhi helps you to grow in Buddhi Yoga and in Bhakti Yoga. At this point of time, I want to take the opportunity to glorify a great devotee of the Lord who single-mindedly, with focus, did only one thing, that is the service of the Lord. This is the story of Bhadrachalam Ramadasu, who was single-minded in not only writing and singing about the glories of Lord Ramachandra, but also constructed the Bhadrachalam temple, which is very famous. He did all of this at a very, very high risk for his own person. Bhadrachalam Ramadasu was born in the 16th century as Kancharla Gopanna near Bhadrachalam. This particular town is very famous for the Sri Ramachandra temple. He was born into the family, a traditional family of Sri Vaishnavas. Ramadasu has written many kritis, 108 kirtans in particular, and all of his works were dedicated to Lord Ramachandra. And he was known, though his name was Gopanna, he became known as Ramadasu, not only for his activities, but his pen name was also Ramadasu. His works have inspired even other bhakti saints like Tyagaraju and Annamaya. This was a time when Hyderabad and most of Andhra Pradesh was being ruled by the Qutub Shahi dynasty. And two of Gopanna's uncles were actually ministers in Qutub Shahi court. And somehow or the other, Bhadrachalam Ramadasu was appointed as a tax collector for Bhadrachalam area. The Bhadrachalam temple at that point of time was in a very dilapidated state, and this had caused a lot of pain for a lot of the devotees, including Bhadrachalam Ramadasu. So, while doing his work as a collector, he gets inspired and he decides to build a temple for the Lord. And during this time, he starts getting visions of the Lord, Sri Ramachandra. Then, he sees Lakshmana, Sita Devi, and Anjaneya all in Vanavasa, but they are all going around, in their Leela. And he's and Bhadrachalam Ramadasu is getting involved in those activities of the Leelas of the Lord. In this state of mind, he's single focused, he's only thinking of the Lord. In this state of the mind, what he does is he not only does his work of collecting the taxes, as well as he starts raising funds for the temple. And then with lot of risk and lot of hard work, they rebuild the temple and dedicate the temple. However, at this point of time, there are people who are inimical to Ramadas, and they somehow want to pull him down. So what they do is they go to the Sultan and they report to the Sultan that this temple has been built by the embezzled money, the tax money that Ramadasu has collected. This enrages the Sultan and he has him arrested. Once he's arrested, he's publicly flogged with whips, and he's also flogged with maces which have pointed nails on them. And then he's also treated to, hot iron rods. And this actually reminds me of Haridas Thakur being whipped by, the soldiers of the king in 21 marketplaces. And all the time during this particular torture, Ramadasu did not take any other name than Lord Rama. Then he's thrown into the prison for 12 years of solitary confinement in Golconda Fort. And during this solitary confinement, where he did not have anyone else to speak to, he wrote one of his most famous and heart-wrenching kirtans. It's in Telugu, but I will recite it. I'm not a good singer either. The words are Paluke Bangaramaya Pilichina Palukavemi Kalaloni Namasmarana Maruchu Chakkani Tandri. So what is he saying? He's saying, why don't you talk to me even though I call you? Even while sleeping, even while dreaming, I only think of you. Why, oh Lord, why don't you speak to me? So this is the single pointed focus of a devotee. Then he writes another kirtan. And in this kirtan, what is he doing? He is actually appealing, to Mother Sita to recommend him to the Lord, to protect him. And what is he saying? He's saying, I'm sorry. Nanu Brovamani Chapave Shiromani Janakani Kuturu Janaki Janakamma. So he's asking Mother Sita to recommend him to the Lord so that he can protect him. There are many other very popular kirtans of Ramadasu, and one of them is where he jubilantly declares the glories of the Dashavatars of the Lord, in which he says, Takuvemi Manaku, Ramu Dokkadundu Varaku, Prakatoduga, Bhagavantudu Mana Chakradhari, Yai Chantanundaga. What it means is, when Rama is on our side, what is lacking for us? When the God holding the disc Sudarshana Chakra, he's so close to us, what is lacking to us? So he starts this song like this, and he goes through all the 10 avatars of the Lord. I want to talk about one other kriti that he has written, Kirtan. And this song, he's glorifying the Lord, explaining how the Lord pervades the countless worlds arising out of the primordial eggs in the causal ocean. We have read about this in Srimad Bhagavatam, but this is how it reaches the masses through these poet saints. E tiruga nanu daya chuchadavu, ilavamshottaka Rama, natarama bhavasagara miduna nalina dalakshada Rama. And what he's saying in this particular verse is, in what way will you show me your kindness, O great son of Surya dynasty? Will it be possible for me to swim across the ocean of worldly concerns, O lotus-eyed Rama? So I don't have a lot more today other than just glorifying Sri Ramadasu. It is poets like this, it is devotees like this with single-minded focus. They have served the Lord, and they also inspire us. Here in Naperville community, we are also building a temple. We are almost at the end of it, and we have also gone through our trials and tribulations. I hope this inspires all of us to continue doing devotional service to the Lord. Thank you. If anyone has any questions or any comments or any corrections, please feel free to bring it up.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for nicely presenting Ramadas' single-pointed attention or intelligence, the way he wants Rama, irrespective of what situation, right? I mean, 12 years in prison, solitary, nobody else to see, right?
Yeah.
So all he did is to serve the Rama, but then he got a thing, but then that also he took as a blessing, and he was writing the stories about Lord Ramachandra even in that situation. So thank you for presenting it. Gopal Hari Prabhu sent some message, bro. 1 second of human life wasted in a vain research of planning of happiness in the material world can never be replaced, even if one spends millions of coins of gold.
Yes, Prabhuji. So nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. And thank you for your comments, Lingaraj Prabhu. And if there is no other comments, I think we can end the class today.
A few more seconds.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know if anybody want to.
Sure.
Prabhu is asking, Prabhu, you see the message. I really like this. Do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, so, this has been mentioned by Prabhupada in so many places that the human life is the most precious of life, the life forms that we can get. We have crossed 8,400,000 species, many multiple births, many multiple lifetimes, and here we are. And in spite of all these acharyas telling us not to waste time, we are still continuing in our own pursuit of this like our intelligence is branched. There are so many different things that we want to take care of. And this is how Maya actually misleads us, because of this multi-pronged or multi-branched intelligence. Prabhupada is just trying to draw our attention and saying, give up all these, multi-branched intelligence and multi-goals. There is just only one goal of this human life. And so don't even waste one single second or a moment for pursuing other goals other than the Lord himself. I don't know if somebody else can add to this, including Gopal Prabhu. It'll be so nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Okay, Prabhuji, looks like there's no other comments or discussions. We can end the call today. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo